Welcome back, guys. So yeah, this is gonna be What If Deku Was Betrayed Part 2. Um, I'm gonna ask your guys' help. I think I'm gonna try to make it, but I don't know for sure. But if you guys would, I would appreciate if you guys could help me make an intro or something. I don't really know. I just would like that, I guess. So yeah. Let's hop back into it. So it's been a week since everything has happened, because where we last left off, he was sleeping, and when he woke up, pretty much it's been a week, right? So and then Azawa tells everyone, because Vladkin's also there, tells everyone that they are having the sports festival, and people were like, wait, what about? And then Ida said, wait, what about the what happens if we get attacked by villains? And everyone ignored him, and he said, well, we're gonna have a lot of heroes there, obviously. And he's like, oh, I see, right? And everyone just ignores him pretty much. And the next day, he says, well, you guys have a week to train. That's all we're doing is training for this for the sports festival. So get stronger, keep working, and yeah, class dismissed. And they went off to do whatever they had to do. And Kendo was pretty much just following Deku. He notices this, but doesn't really care. And he walked out. And everyone doesn't really bother with him right now, because they still just feel bad for him. They just leave him alone and let him do whatever he wants, pretty much. And yeah. Hold on, give me a second. Yeah. And he finally stopped and said, what do you want, Kendo? Right, in a deep voice now. He says it like this. What do you want, Kendo? Right? And she says, oh, well, I was just seeing if you want to train with me. And he says, I guess, but we don't have the exact same amount, same skill set. I could do quite a different things. I don't think I could. She's like, no, it's okay. I just want to see how fast you are and stuff. And he's like, okay, I guess. And they went to a training grounds and everything. And she said, let's see how fast you could run towards a building. And the building was pretty much like, let's say like a mile away from them. And he says, oh, okay. And usually his pet is asleep, but this time he was awake. And his pet just kind of formed onto him in a way. Well, it went to a shadow version, like how I had it earlier when his demon took over. Where was it? Like this, he went to a shadow form. Right. And she's like, wait, what's going on? Because Kendo doesn't even know what's going on with that. And it just laid back down and turned into its small thing again. She's like, oh, okay. And Midoriya got ready and blitzed for it. And it was like 3 seconds he got there. And she's like, wow, you're very fast, Izuku. And he says, yeah, thanks. She says, yeah. And Izuku's kind of getting blushed about this, because he doesn't really talk to girls anymore. Right? And Yeah. I was like, crap. And let's say that he got called and he answered it and it was his father. He says, "Is this Izuku?" And he says, "Yeah, this is." He says, "Yes. Why?" He says, "Hello?" He says, yes, this is Izuku Midoriya, but who are you?" He says, "Oh, well, I'm your father." And he says, "Oh, hello, Dad?" Right? And he says, "Well, um, you're not allowed to use the family name." And he says, "Wait, are you disowning me?" He says, "Yes, you couldn't save your mother." And he's like, "I wasn't even with her." Right? And Kendo is hearing this, right? And they're having an argument. And, and Izuki says, "You know what, fuck you." He says, "Fuck you. Never come back to my life again." Right? And his father said, "Well, I'm not paying for your school and tuition." And Izuki says, "Fine, fuck you too, Dad." Or whatever her name is, Sasashi, bitch. Right? And he hangs up. And when he was done, Toria just started crying, but didn't really act like anything. Right? And she's like, "Wait, are you okay, Izuku?" And Izuku went on his knees and started crying a little louder. She hugged him and said, "It's okay, whatever happened." And she said, "What happened, though?" And he says, "Well, my father disowned me because my mother death." And he's like, "Well, my life's already pussy enough, I guess." Right? And Kendo's like, "I'm so sorry, Izuku." And he says, it's okay, I guess." And she's there. She's just hugging him and says, "Well, if you need anything, just ask me, okay?" And he says, "Okay, thank you, Kendo," with a smile. And let's say 2 days before the sports festival, right? Izuku has been training, and he noticed that. Sorry, he notices that um, every time he trains, his eyes are kind of glowing a little bit more in the dark and stuff. And let's say one day he was talking to his devil, and he says, "Can I transform? Can I shapeshift into different things?" He says, "Oh yes, you could shapeshift into a lot of things." And he says, "Really?" He says, "Yes, I could show you one thing." He says, "Yeah, here." And then he released Ezekiel and made him shapeshift into this, pretty much, let's say. And Ezekiel's like, "Oh, I see. So now I have a tail." He says, "So how do I go back to my other form?" He says, "Well, you just think about it." And he says, "Okay." And he just went back to his other form. He went back to this. He says, "That might help me during the thing." He says, "Probably during the sports festival." God, I can't remember that name for God life. For life sakes. Sorry, it's just 12. um, and the day before the USJ, I was like, "Okay, everyone get ready." And then he says, "Izuku, can I talk to you after class?" And he said, "Sure." Right, and Kendo said, "I'll wait for you after class." Right, and he says, "Oh, okay." And everyone kind of notices that Kendo's been hanging out with Deku more. Right, and, yeah. And the next, after class, he says, "So I heard what happened with your father, and you're not Midoriya anymore." And he says, "Yeah." And Zawa says, "Well, if you want, I can adopt you." And he says, and it's always like, "If you," and he got cut off. And Zuka said, "Yes, please." And he says, "Are you sure?" And he says, "Yes." And he says, "Okay then. Um, then you're gonna be an Azawa. Welcome to the family, I guess." And he says, thanks, Dad. And he just calls him Dad. And Zawa is not ready for that. And he's like, he says, well, I'm going to head out, okay? He says, yeah, just get ready for tomorrow. And he says, yes, sir. He says, yes, Dad. And walks out. Kendo's like, so what was that about? Well, so is my father now. And she's like, wait, what? He just adopted me. Right. And she's like, oh, I see. And, yeah. The next day, Izuku wakes up to go for a run. He was on his run and he sees a hero that looked like a cat. But that hero is surrounded by three other cats. Three other cats. Three other girls. Yeah. Can't be rude about that. I'll go with that anyways. Sorry, I was talking to myself. And he accidentally bumped into her. And she said, oh, I'm sorry. And he says, no, it's okay. And then he sees a boy beside her. And he says, oh, hello. And he didn't really acknowledge. He didn't say anything back. And this girl said, Koda, don't be rude. And he says, hello. And she says, I'm so sorry about him. And he says, no, it's okay. Right. And she's like, well, and he says, sorry, I accidentally bumped into you. I should have been paying attention. And they're just having a little conversation. And let's say there is a attack by some random villain. Let's say by a gang of villains. And Mandalay is like, okay, you get back. Koda, stay back here. Right, and they charged in. But Izuku just pulled out his blades and ran in before them. And the gang had people hostages, but Izuku just knocked them out real quick. Right? And let's say, like, he used one sword that looks like a cane. If you know who Brook is from One Piece, that's pretty much what his sword is. He, like, has a cane, and he just closed it, and, yeah. And they all just fell. And he says, is anyone hurt? And then a girl is crying, says, yes, they hurt my father. And he sees that the father got shot in the arm. No, in the chest around his. Yeah, in his chest. And he's like, oh, God. And he just felt shooken by this. And he's like, I could help. And he said, devil. He says, help, heal. He's like, heal. Right. He put his hand on where the bullet wound and said, heal. And out of nowhere, green light comes out of his hand and starts healing him. And Izuku says, I have a healing power. Nice. Right. And the devil is like, yeah, I should have told you that a little bit a while ago. It's like, it's okay. I got it. This is the perfect time to use it. And he healed him, and the man woke up, and he said, thank you, hero. And he says, I'm not a hero. I'm a hero in training, though. And he says, oh, wait. Did you just use your quirk illegally? He said, yeah, I'm sorry, but you guys needed help. And if I didn't come, you'd probably died. So, I'm glad what I did. And he's like, I'm too, but if you get in trouble, I'm so sorry. It's my fault. Or it's our fault. And he says, no, it's not. Right. And they just talked, and Mandalay and no, these heroes came in and said, hey, that was unsafe, and you know that you were not supposed to do that. Right. And he says, well, if I didn't, this man would have died. And he says, and it looked like your guys are cats or something. If you guys are like that, you guys should be fast, right? And she said, do you even know who we are? And he says, no, not fully. He says, well, we're the Wild Wild Pussycats. And he says, oh, the hero. And he's like, oh, yeah, he says, oh yeah, I know who you guys are. I have you guys in my notes. And yeah. And he says, well, I'm gonna head out. I hope you guys are safe. Yeah, and walks out. Coda saw this and he's like, what did you just do? And he says, well, if I could tell you a secret, because you look like you hate me, because what? And he says, well, you have a quirk. People with quirks are disgusting. He says, huh, well, lucky for you, kid. I don't have a quirk. And he says, wait, you don't have a quirk? He says, can you keep a secret? And he says, yeah. And Coda says, yeah, I can. And he says, this isn't a quirk. This is my inner demon. And then you just see half of his face turn into a demon. And he says, and his other half says, hello, child. And he went back to his form and walked off. He said, hey, just watch the sports festival. You might see more of me. And he's like, wait, are you in a UA? He says, yeah, I am. He says, oh, okay then. And Coda got more hope for her. And Coda actually starts liking him more now. And Mandalane came over and said, hey, are you okay? What happened? And she's like, well, you're happy for some reason. And he says, yeah, that kid, he's going to be a good hero. Can we go to the sports festival tomorrow? And she says, yeah, we were supposed to anyways, for we could get people selected. Right, and he's like, good. And she says, why though? She says, well, reasons. He says, reasons. He says, well, she says, well, okay then. And they went the next day, right? No, this is the next day. Okay, no. He says, okay, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. Izuki says, watch me today during the sports festival. You'll see me. He says, okay. And pretty much, Kendo says, can we watch the sports festival? And she's like, yeah, sure. I thought you didn't like people with quirks. He says, yeah, sure, whatever. Right? And she's like, yeah, we have to anyways. Go. He says, good. And boom. Right? And where was I? And they went and they saw all the students come out. And the person that had to give the speech was Izuku. And everyone just saw this boy with a scarf, and he kind of looks like this, right? But he just has a tank top and jeans on. And a scarf with his pet on. And he says, well, good luck to everyone and do your best against each other, but, and everyone's like, wait, what does he mean by but? None of you will beat me. That's all I'm saying. If you do, well, I'm going to be surprised. And he walked down and everyone clapped, but some people didn't. Coda clapped a lot. Right? And yeah. They all got in place. Todoroki did declare war on him, but Izuku didn't really notice. And let's say Izawa had to announce everyone, and when he said Izuku Ozawa, everyone's like, wait, Izuku Ozawa? I thought his name was Izuku Midoriya. Mostly the class was confused, and he says, this is my son now. And Mike's like, wait, is he your son? He says, yeah, he's my stepson. And he said this on the mic because the mic wasn't muted, and everyone's like, oh my god, no. He says, oh my god, Dad. And everyone's like, gee. And everyone's like, what the hell? And they all got into their race area. And Todoroki, when Mike said go, Todoroki iced it, but right before, Izuku sliced it and ran. When the 0-pointers came out, right? Because he's never tried his powers against 0-pointers. He got his scythe out for the first time and sliced 3 with once, and they just start collapsing, right? And they're just running he's running and running. And when he got to the pits, he said, fly. And he got wings, right? Yeah, he just got wings. And everyone thinks, okay, so does he have two quirks? Because he just summoned a weapon out of nowhere and, it just got wings. And Coden remembers that he's a demon. He has an inner demon. And he's like, what the? He's like, so this is what his demon could do so far. And when he got to the mines, Izuku just dashed through them. And everyone is just at the zero pointers, and it's been like 10 seconds. And out of nowhere, first place is Izuku Ozawa. And everyone's like, wait, he's already there? They look at inside, and they just see Izuku. And he says, well, I'm gonna sleep. I didn't get that much sleep last night. Right? And he fell asleep. And Bakugo came in second, Todoroki came in third, Kendo came in fourth, and pretty much same place, I guess we could say. And when everyone got there, they saw Izuku sleeping. And when Meg when they started explaining the next event, he woke up and he's like, what's going on? Right? And he has one eye open, and his tank top kind of came up, so like you could see his stomach, and you just see abs. And a lot of the girls were blushing about this, right? And Kendall was blushing like a bitch about it. And let's say the Mandalane or the Cat Heroes, Wild Pot Pussycats, Mandalane also did too. Like pretty much every girl was also. And he says, oh, I should probably fix that. He fixes his shirt. Everyone stopped. And they say, well, the next event is Calvary battle. You have to have 4 people in your group and everything, right? And yeah. And they're like, well, okay, I guess. And Kendo says, you want to be in a group? And he says, sure. So Izuku and Kendo, and they like explain all of the but they explained like the power based and everything. So yeah, I should said that real quick. And Kendo's like, you want to be partners? And he's like, yeah, we could have a good defense. So Kendo and Izuku and Tokiyami came also. Tokiyami came, right? And so it's Tokiyami, Kendo, and Izuku. And everyone else was in a group, so they didn't have an extra person, right? And he says, and they're like, wait, we can't do this if we don't have one more extra person. And he says, I got it. He says, wait, what do you mean you got it? And out of nowhere, another version of him came, and it was this demon. And the demon just spoke in a deeper voice. He said, finally I could come out. And you just see this other thing stretch. And Koda from observation noticed what this was. He says, this is his demon. And right, because he figured it out pretty quickly. And and where was I? Fuck, I'm trying to remember. Fuck. Shit. Oh, yeah. He pretty much, and they're like, okay, begin. And everyone was charging towards Deku. And then Deku said, Dark Void. And the whole inside of the arena got covered in darkness. And no one could see through. No one. And he said traps. He said trap, and then the void disappeared. And when, let's say, Monoma's, right, Monoma's team all of a sudden just froze in place. You see like 10 teams frozen in place, and everyone's like, wait, what's going on with them? And they just notice, and you see Izuku clutch his hand, and they just all fall. And you just see pretty much everyone else fall. And the only team that's standing is Todoroki's team, Bakugo's, and Deku's, and let's say Ida, Uraka also had a team with some other people, right? And yeah, and they all charged against him, and he clutched his fist again, and they fell, right? And they said, well, I guess that's it, right? Izuku Zawa's team wins. And the teachers are like, hold on, we have to make a decision about something. And they're like, wait, really? And they're like, wait, what? And I'm not gonna make this ship Kendo anymore. I have a different idea. And it's not gonna be Mandalay either, okay? It's gonna be none of the Wild Pussycats nor Kendo. Right? And sorry, I was doing something. Where was I? I'm trying to think. They say, well, since how he just took down everyone that quick, right? They say, since he took down everyone that fast, he will have to go against everyone. Right? So it's 1 versus, there's like, say, 50 kids. So it's 1 versus 49 children. And everyone's like, okay. And everyone's like, wait, really? And it won't really win. Right? And sorry, I was doing something again. And everyone's like, wait, okay, I guess. And everyone thought of a plan because it was just Izuku by himself now. And Izuku was setting traps up because let's say Izuku was the only person on the field. Everyone sees this, and because everyone else is just talking in a room, right? And sorry, I was adjusting my chair before I could sleep on it. Where was I? Crap. And Izuku sets traps, and his pet wakes up. Everyone sees it, and it's adorable. And then it transforms into its form. And it could transform into different things. It could transform into this. Yes, I'm Pokemon. I love this. He could transform into his dragon, like this dragon right here. Okay, so yeah, but it transformed into its shadow form, and yeah, transformed into shadow form, and everyone saw this, and then you see Deku just get things ready. You see 2 pistols come out, and everyone thinks he has multiple quirks. So they think that, and Koda's just amazed of what this man could do. And let's say that he summoned his inner demon again. He brought out his inner demon again, right? And so his inner demon said, so what are we doing for this? And he says, here you go. He throws him a sword and he throws him a pistol. And he's like, oh, okay, so this is how we're doing it? He says, yep. And they say, well, the other team is done strategizing. It's time for the battle. And Cemento's made, like, their arena bigger, I guess, let's say. And, yeah, everyone's all ready for this. And the League of Villains are not watching, let's say. Right? And let's say Kirishima, Tetsu, pretty much all attackers or something. Or pretty much all like attack-based quirks. Tokiyami, Bakugo, pretty much everyone's quirk. Like, no, long range and stuff, attacked and everything. Like, attack range, long range attackers went first, right? And you just see Izuku not just standing still. And then you just see him raise the pistol and start shooting 6 rounds. So as his demon. And they start taking them down, and everyone thinks, right, is he shooting actual bullets? Because it sounds like bullets. And when it hits, it's just, and when it hit people, you just see darkness wrap around them like it was a tight blanket. But it was over their body, so they couldn't move. But it only lasted about 10 seconds, so he just kept shooting at them to trap them. And then his shadow demon charged at them, started taking them down, knocking out some. But Bakugo used his explosions, and Todoroki used his fire. Right? And it disappeared. It went back to its small form and ran back to Izuku. Izuku's like, oh, you poor thing. Right? And Izuku said, and his inner demon went back in. He said, shall we, if you want to play like that. And then he started growing his horns again. Right? And he transformed into something new. He transformed into... Where is it? Shit. I saw it earlier. I might have actually just passed it. I probably passed it. I won't be surprised. There it is. Right. And he says, let's get this done with. And he just pulls out this red katana that has electricity around it. And he goes for Bakugo, knocks him out quickly. Todoroki, he knocks him out. And he pretty much leaves everyone except for 3 people. 1, Ida. 2, Uraka. 3, Jiro. He went up to Jiro slowly and said, just give up. I don't want to hurt someone that's beautiful. And she just says, I forfeit, and falls to the ground. Because it was like a whisper to her ear, and she just fell. And she's blushing. Kendo does like Deku, but she didn't know. And she heard, and she's like, are you serious? That girl? Why her? Right? And then he charged out Uraka. He's like, oh, I don't want to be a jerk in front of people. He said, give up. I don't really want to hurt you, I guess. Right. And she says, no, you deserve to get disowned and your mother died. And everyone heard this and they're like, what was that? And she says, what did you just... He says, everyone is just quiet in the stands. And he said, oh, you want to say that again? And everyone got caught off guard. And she said it again. and so did Ida. And Izuku transformed into something different, something that that no one wanted to see, and he just transformed into, where is it? Hold on, I know it's up here. He transformed into his other form, and he said, "Oh, so that's what you want to do?" But then he transformed again into something else, and they're like, "Wait, he's transforming again. What's going on?" And he transformed into, wait, I passed it. He transformed into this. No, not this. He looks way too weird in that one. He transformed into, sorry, I like doing that too, you guys. He transformed into, hmm. Yeah, screw it. I'm going back to that. Where is it? Wait. Let's say he transformed into this. And everyone was scared. You could just feel this blood curdling feeling coming off of him. And you see him for a second and he's gone. You don't see him. And then then you hear a bam, and you just see Uraka and Ida onto the ground, smashed with his hands. Like their back of their heads are smashed into the ground. And when Izuku transformed, you just see a split personality of him screaming and crying. Everyone doesn't know what's going on. Heroes come down to go comfort him. Like, heroes jump down, right? And they went to go comfort him, but Izuku just transformed back into his original form. He transformed back into this. And yeah. Right? And yeah. And they say the winner is Izukuzawa. Sorry, but this is where we have to end it. Please go by to the gift shop. Please come by to get autographs from kids. And pro heroes, make sure you do select who you want. Right. And everyone did. And they waited for everyone to get healed. And there's this line of kids that wanted autographs. Right. And they see, and no one went up to Uraka and Ida, but everyone else went up to everyone else. Pro heroes walked by, and let's say like they had kids' names in boxes, right? They wrote down what their agency was and put it in the box and everything. And Izuku got every hero there went into his box. And you had kids going up, you had every kid that was there go up to him and ask him for an autograph or pet his little fox. And he says, "Go ahead, you guys. He's just sleepy. Just be careful, okay?" And and all the kids are thinking that Izuku's so sweet because how calm his voice is. Like, he's saying it like this: "Oh, it's okay, guys. Just pet him softly, okay?" And because he's asleep. And the heroes and some of the girls are blushing because of it, because how he smiles and everything. So yeah, and after the U.S. or after that, the next they have a recovery day, and you just see Raka and Ida in Armcast, right? And they're just watching a movie on the couch. And Izuki says, "I'm gonna head out." And everyone's like, "Where are you going?" right? But a lot of the people that didn't like him even hate him more now, because they still think he's a villain. Says, well, I'm gonna go out to the movies. You guys want to come? Then he says, does anyone want to come? And he says, yeah, I'm going out for dinner. And let's say Jiro said, sure, if that's okay. Said, yeah, go ahead. He said, yeah, sure, right? Kendo said, can I? And she said, he pretty much let Tsuyu, Momo, Hiroshima, Tetsu, Bakugo, Kaminari, Tokiyami, Kendo, and Jiro go. And they all head out. And Izuku's gonna look like this right here. He just doesn't have the mask in, his hair is white. Okay? So yeah, and his eyes are green. Okay? So yeah. And yeah. They had fun, they ate and everything. For yeah. And Jiro was usually always beside Deku because she didn't know if Deku liked her or not, or was just messing around. And Kendo doesn't know either, so she was always beside Deku also. Everyone notices this, and they just left it alone. Except for Bakugo. Bakugo had to tease the girls about it. He says, just ask him out, Jesus. Right. He'll probably accept one of you, maybe. Who knows? He might not even accept any of you. Right. He's laughing about it. And they're like, shut up, Bakugo. Right. And yeah. So I'm gonna end it there. Or like they went back home and everything. Or back to the dorm. Well, I'm gonna end it there. And yeah. Thank you guys for watching today. Right. And yeah. Like I said, if anyone wanted to help me an intro for me, please help me. So yeah. Thank you guys and hope you guys enjoyed.